Can
If I can cook?
Yeah.
Of course, honey.
imagine this. You know, you like you can cook, right?
Yeah.
Of course you can cook.
So why not? But of course, me can cook. No understand. But does it look like me can cook?
Hot girl can cook.
Exactly
right here.
Girl can cook.
Exactly.
Okay.
Hey guys, I'm your host, Blair Milan from Itiswhatitisja, and today we'll be discussing cross-cultural relationships. And we're sponsored by Boss Destination, Irie Beanz Coffee, Karmen's Kollection, Ultra Petroleum, and the Striker Bunny Lee Museum. Today we'll be discussing cross-cultural relationships and navigating the pitfalls. And we have with me today Wes, Fet King, DJ, MC, soca enthusiast, and host. Come on, guys.
Man, I love that intro. That intro's so nice.
Goosebumps.
Like that.
I hope the conversation give you goosebumps, you know.
Oh, for sure.
And we have Aga, right? Everybody know her as the dancer and soca carnival model. Let me know. So I have soca people here today on the set. All right, and you also have a tour company for Polish persons visiting Jamaica. All right, so guys, well, this is a good topic because you're from Jamaica and you're from Poland. So tell me what you really get from cross-cultural dating. Like, do you think it can work? Meaning persons from different cultures. Okay, let me start with you, Ada. You're not from here, but you live here.
Yeah.
What do you I don't want to get into your business, but
But you will eventually. I know that.
eventually. But I mean, you know, just from, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be from experience, but you know, just your perspective. You being from Poland, what has it been like interacting with someone, a male, a Jamaican male? You know, has the culture affected, you know, the different cultures affected relationships for you?
Sure. Most definitely. I think it's a huge factor, and I think it's even bigger than I expected.
Okay.
Because the cultures are so different, and I think also the upbringing is very, very different. Like the way we have families back home and the way that families work over here, it's a completely different thing. I think a lot of people end up being traumatized with their early childhood experiences.
Right.
Also the whole galleys culture in Jamaica, it makes it, you know, we don't have that back home.
You don't have that back home?
No, not really. It makes it more difficult to even understand, because I think there is enough of misunderstandings just between male and female overall.
Right.
But when you put the different culture into that, it gets even more difficult.
Right.
But I don't think it's impossible. I think it is possible, but it takes a mutual understanding, a lot of work on both sides, on self-development, and just trying to make things work.
All right, Wes, Fet King. Yes. I mean, I'm not even going to say Trinidad, because Trinidad is basically Jamaican. So I'm just... Okay, all right. So tell me then, let's okay, because to me, technically, it's Caribbean, so I wouldn't really even call that cross-cultural, you know. So I'm just saying, if you were to date someone outside of the Caribbean, do you think? I don't know if you have, but I mean, if you have, have you seen where it can work, or can it, you know, has it not worked based on the fact that, you know, you're from two different cultures, and you know, us coming from the Gallis culture, as Aga just mentioned.
Right. I mean, I know it can work. It's scary. It can work, but it's scary. I remember when I was in New York. I was in New York for 2 years. And while I was there, I met this very beautiful woman. Her name is Itiswhatitisja.
Oh,
Itiswhatitisja. Great.
That's that's Polish. I was like, okay, why Slovakia?
She's from Slovakia. And I've never met anybody from Slovakia in my entire life. I've
Right.
met anybody from the entire continent.
Right.
You know what I mean? So in my brain, I was like, you know, this is going to be a new experience. It's going to be fun. I'm going to learn some stuff. I learned how to make, I think it's not grilled cheese. It's some baked cheese thing. But it was kind of cool. But
Okay.
it was a little bonding session for her teaching me some stuff, and me teaching her cook Jamaican stuff.
Yeah.
But dating her back in that time, I realized that she is different. Dating somebody outside of, you know, Jamaica overall, because I'm Jamaican.
Yeah.
Used to Jamaica woman. I'm used to knowing what a Jamaican woman would say or react to certain things, it's different. It's a more refreshing different because you're like, for example, you're talking to like a Caribbean woman, and you'd expect that certain topics, probably some Caribbean women would react a certain way, but then a European woman would probably have a more calm approach.
Right.
Certain things. They would probably think about it in a different light. Some certain things wouldn't, affect them or anything like that, like how some Caribbean women would, right? No, everybody's different. It may not be where you're from, but maybe your personal, like your actual personality. But I promise you, man, it took me just one woman from, Europe to actually say, yeah, there's plenty of fish out there.
Yeah. So what do you think broke down? Like, what do you think in the difference in the culture that caused it to like not work?
I was more scared because she kept saying this one thing to me where she's like the first dark-skinned guy she's ever been with,
Oh,
like, yeah.
So you kind of felt like that's a lot of pressure for you. Okay.
Because she was saying, after we leave from New York, you have to come back and visit me. You have to, spend some time with me back home. Like, I know my father will love you. And I'm just like, yeah. how many guys that look like me? It's like, not much. And I'm like, yeah, at all. I'm like, wow, it's going to be a problem, right? Like, because I'm going to feel a little bit, but
that sounds like that's a you problem, though. It didn't sound like she had a problem with exactly. So you were putting your own insecurities and your own pressures on yourself because you're feeling like but it could have worked. So that could have been your soulmate. You could have been married right now, Wes.
Let's take a drink.
Come on, take a drink.
Sound like her right now.
Come on. So you missed out on a beautiful Slovakian woman. Come on.
I think you guys overthink it.
Exactly.
Yeah, like when I tell my parents about that I'm dating someone, like they couldn't care less about
where he's from or what skin color
or whatever. All they care about is whether the person treats me right, whether it's a good person. But they don't think like not everywhere is America where people are like racist and they divide people or that. In Europe, it's more about. I still think we more look at person's heart and the values that they present, and it's not about the superficial, like how much money you make or what color you are, how you look like.
Could you describe for us some of the cultural differences that you have in your country versus Jamaica? Like some of the things that stuck out to you then being here versus there.
In terms of relationships.
Yeah, in terms of relationships, what are some key things, maybe two key things that stuck out to you?
I would say, I'm not saying it's just Jamaica. I think it's overall this part of the world.
Right.
Like people put way more weight on financial stuff. We don't look at relationships like that. Like I'm not looking for a man to provide everything for me. Like I have my own stuff. I want to work on myself. Of course, like at some point where the kids come into the place, like yes, you're gonna look into that too, but it's not like a main factor. It's not like 6-figure and this and that. Like we don't look at it like this,
right?
So it's more about what kind of person you are, what kind of emotional support you can provide for me, not how many Louis Vuitton bags you're gonna buy me. Like, I don't care about that.
right.
So that's one, but that's not just Jamaica. I think that was more inspired by American culture. And another thing is cheating. Oh my God. I know it's everywhere. I know everywhere in the world people happen to cheat. But in Jamaica, I think it's also supported by all this girlish culture. And like the kids or the little boys from the very early age, they are taught that their manhood depends on how many girls they have, not what quality girls they have. So in my culture, it's more about finding the perfect woman. But like once you have a girlfriend that is beautiful, she's nice to you, she's smart, she takes care of you and everything. If you go and you cheat on her with some gal, like nobody's gonna support that. Even when you go with your homies for a beer, nobody's gonna be like, yeah, bro, you're a man. Everybody's gonna be like, you're stupid. Like, why would you cheat on your beautiful woman, right? Versus Jamaica is more about how many girls you have.
You get that girl,
which
10 of them.
Yeah, right? Which they can be a poor quality. Like, they can be a girl
so
to sleep around.
It sounds like I need to move to Poland.
Can I come? Yeah.
No. You keep your girlish culture.
We all go together.
So like I need to go to Poland because like
I mean, of course, it can still happen. Like guys can still cheat.
Yeah,
It
no,
happens, and girls as well. Like,
Right,
I'm not saying
right.
it's depending on gender, but there's just the culture is way less supportive on that. Like you're gonna be really stigmatized whether you're a man or a woman if you cheat on your spouse.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's a big deal. You know.
I still have a ticket sitting down for me to go to Slovakia. I don't mind.
You need to go.
I don't mind.
You need to go. Okay, guys. So this question is for both of you. What advice would you give to anyone who chooses to date someone outside of their nationality, outside of their race, or outside of their class, or even religion? You can pick anyone.
You're up to this one, the first.
I can go. I can always. Yeah, I think most important thing is communication, and especially when these topics come up, you have to teach each other about each other's culture or country or religion or whatever it is that is different about you. I think it can be a wonderful experience when you also expand your horizons. Because, for example, dating somebody even outside of your class, that's a very valuable experience because you see the life from a different point of view.
Right.
Also, like dating from different culture, you can learn so many things. Even if you don't end up working out, like it still can be a wonderful
Learning experience, yeah.
It's gonna broaden your horizons.
Yeah.
So I think what is really important to make it work is just keeping it honest and trying to be genuinely curious about other person, not just like superficial things, not just the surface, like a different cuisine or different, I don't know, whatever, different music that the person is listening to, but also like deeper things because culture is way deeper than what we see on the surface. Is also the way like we grew up, the way we interact with our families, with our friends. So I think, yeah, the most important thing is to try to learn about it and understand the other person's perspective because some controversial topics might come up as well, just like we talked behind the scenes about the whining, for example, right, on Carnival. Like from the outside it looks like crazy, like if you never seen Carnival and you see a guy whining on a different gal, you're gonna be like, oh, you're not gonna take him serious,
Right.
but when you sit down and talk about it and see what there is really behind it, and that there is a culture behind Carnival, for example, and that it all has a meaning, and that it's not serious, it's just the way that people are having fun and expressing themselves, you might end up understanding it even though it's not your culture. You've never seen something like this before when it's properly
Explain. So Wes, as you know, Aga mentioned, like behind the scenes, we were talking about you having to explain to your past situation, about your whining and, the role you play as being the soca fet king. You know what I mean? Like, how did that go over? Did she really understand at the end of the day that, hey, this is, it doesn't mean anything. It's just for fun.
All right. So for sure, right off the bat, cultures are different. People are different. A party for one person is a different party for another person. Right? In the Caribbean, carnival or a fete is not just any party. Right? It's not just another night in the club. Me and girls go out. It's not just that. It's a lot more. There's a lot more to it. There's a lot more factors and more things that is more broad. These are more open. They're more free, right? If I was supposed to bring my girl, from Slovakia to a Jamaican fete or a Caribbean fete overall, she would more than likely feel slightly out of place because she wouldn't understand why that guy just whine on that girl, and there's nothing to it. And how I watch, everybody know why. I
don't know how the soca fet king wine.
I'm more passionate with it, but it's just that to me, right? You see, some person see how I wine, and they,
But you see, I'm from here, right? And I even feel like the dancing can get a little bit much.
For sure.
So, am I comfortable, like, seeing someone that I'm dating or with, like, you know, the expressiveness of the Jamaican men. I mean, I can understand why even a woman from a different culture would have a difficulty with that. Because if we're being real and honest, even the women from here, we have a difficulty with it. Who are honest about it, that's a whole different other story. You know what I mean?
Most Jamaican men don't whine. Most Jamaican men don't whine.
That's true. Most Jamaican men stand up and take the wine. That is true.
I cannot say I whine like a...
However, West wines like a soca fed king. That's why I have the name, right?
I'm passionate about dancing. It's not just about like whining and like, yeah.
Right.
Dancing. You know? I like to know that if I'm whining a girl, you know, for example, if I'm whining, say me and Aga start whining. I want to know...
A problem is in a problem is because a real dancer, this, you know, like I don't know the problem.
That's the thing. Dancers have completely different approach to those.
That's so. That's
because
so.
Whether you do, I don't know, even when you do like salsa or bachata, it's still very close.
It's very personal.
Just like whining,
that is true.
It can look personal, but it not necessarily is personal. That's the thing, because you're acting out a certain thing, but it don't mean that you and this person
are in anything.
Or that you can even like, I can dance, I don't know, salsa, for example, with a big fat guy, and I'm gonna look at him like he's the love of my life just because that's what the dance requires, that you just act out something. So I think that's also possible, and it's okay. It's all about the freedom, right? Not about...
Right now, and persons... Because there's my viral video going on right now, where I was whining on this girl with like a really big, you know, rear, you know? And every time I go to the gym or go anywhere, I tell her like, yo, you must get peace, or you must get her number.
So they just assume, like, this is what it's about.
They probably thought that after...
Well, once again, the gal is culture.
Exactly what it is with me. I can whine like 10 different girls, and you never see me asking for a number, your name. I don't want...
What is that?
I don't care for that. That's not okay.
Okay, just check
it. I have to explain that to even that single looking girl I was talking about. I have to explain that back home when I'm whining or where I go any other country to whine, I just whine because I like to dance.
Right.
And she has to understand that. But then in her culture, when she is into the back end, she goes to a club and she's dancing on a guy and they're interacting. She's locked in with that one guy. But either she's trying to flirt with him or he's flirting with her, and she knows that either she's going to go home with him or it's going to be kids where they're flirting and she wants it. That's just one guy. But me, I would want 20 guys in one fit. 20 guys in this place. Yes, I've tried it before. 20 guys, and I don't talk to at least one of them. I can easily go back home to my girl and be like, no, girl, baby, you want to know what happened tonight? I want 20 guys. Oh, I was like 20.
What's an understanding girlfriend?
No, for sure, because she will know that my personality, I like to whine, right, to dance. But she's not going to be insecure to the point where, she see her man dancing and she feel like, I'm going to go with some other girl.
Right.
No. I know for a fact I'm going to talk to my girl, have her understand. And I see.
And the thing is, she knows who she's with. She knows that you love to dance, you like to express yourself, and you are the soca fed kid.
That's why I feel like I don't know if our girlfriend is going to be Jamaica. I don't know if the local life is going to be Jamaica. I don't know. Because I've experienced other women outside of Jamaica
who are more understanding.
Like, for example, there's a Bayesian New York girl. I love her to bed, gone to life, love her. You understand me? And I only love her that much because of how she thinks, her mindset infects. She fets as hard as me. She travels to different countries to fet. And I know for a fact, if I send her a video and be like, yo, babe, this happened to me today, and I fed this girl with a big, she's going to be like, you're telling me that you white her and you couldn't lift her up? You're telling me that? That kind of vibe, you know what I mean? Because she knows my mindset when it comes to whining a girl, right? And she also knows, because I know for a fact, I've done it before. I've had a girl I've been interested in, we're dating, and I'm seeing her whining right next to me. And instead of some guys in their feelings and feel away, I'm just like, sir, don't waste my time. If you can whine this girl, whine her properly. What is it? What are you doing? All right, watch it. Okay. And I take over, you know?
I am done.
That's my kind of thing. And she likes that shit. She's like, okay, yeah, you have your shit. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Yeah, I think people look at these superficial things and they judge people like you, for example, that, him whine on bag a gal, it must be a gal. That's not necessarily it. You have people who work in the office, and they have 5 girls, and you would never tell.
You would never know.
You have girls who go to church and go all over the place behind everybody's back, and you have girls who go to party every night and they don't do nothing. They just like to dance. They just like to enjoy themselves. So we can't look at things this way. Or the thing I hear all the time, which affects me personally too, is like, oh, when a girl has a lot of followers on Instagram, it means she this and that. No, it don't mean nothing. You can have
it's like
20
judging
guys.
a book by its cover.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and I would say my opinion is the opposite based on what I know about myself and about my girls. If you are a pretty and a popular girl, you're not gonna chase that. You have all these guys in your DMs telling you you're beautiful. Like you're not gonna fall into an artist who's gonna DM you because you have 20 of them in your DMs. You don't care. You genuinely don't care.
Exactly.
And people think that just because somebody will have an opportunity that it makes them use the opportunity. No, it's not like that. And oftentimes it's the people that you would least expect that they're doing the really
so true.
Things.
That is so true.
And she's stolen.
Right? Would you say then that relationships across cultures can actually work if persons actually just have an open mind, communicate, understand each person's backgrounds, and then it could possibly work? Is that what you're both saying?
You can.
If I can cook? Yeah. Of course, honey.
Imagine this. You know, you like coming out, you can cook, right?
Yeah.
Of course you can cook.
So why not? Of course we can cook. I don't understand. But just look like me can't cook.
Hot girl can cook. Exactly right here.
Hot girl can cook. Exactly. Okay. When I just look good for nothing. I understand you.
Exactly. They'll feed the body.
Exactly. We gym bodies. Come on.
Why I ask you, you ever cooking and then you decided to just use an ingredient you don't normally use, but you just use something that you know it may possibly work. You never used it before, but then when you use it, you're like, Shanos, like this. You know, I use that as my example to think about relationships when you date outside. When you decide to open up your mind to something else, the food can taste good.
I like that another.
You understand me? The food can taste in a way where it's like, I'm not just using a regular basic seasoning. I'm not using a regular basic ingredient. I'm adding something, adding flavor, adding something new to the mix, right? Like, for example, most of us are Jamaicans here, right? So, of course, I eat.
Yeah.
Well, we're all Jamaicans here. So
we adopted her. She's Jamaican. She's Jamaican.
Okay.
She's Jamaican now.
So you're here. We've seen all the Jamaican cultures. You've been with like multiple females, multiple guys. Whoever you're interested in, whatever, and you've experienced really one common denominator in how relationships are.
Right.
When you actually decide to open your mind to something else, someone else, a different culture, a different religion, it's like you opening your actual self. So you're opening yourself to a different category where you're able to now bring somebody else in and they're teaching you stuff. The most exciting thing about like learning something about somebody, you ever meet somebody, not even like relationship, you just meet somebody random that they have a whole different background, a whole different culture, a whole different personality. I was like, wow, this
yeah.
pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It gets you excited, it gets you involved, it gets you wanting to know more, and then now put all that into more of a more intimate connection where you're learning from that person.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it's actually fun.
Yeah.
So persons are scared. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was scared. I just really devoted. Yeah.
Call her.
No, you
Go
you're
get
rooting for her.
call her. Get on that plane and find her.
Listen.
I'm going to Poland.
I feel invited. Where so I'm thinking maybe I could try it, but I was scared, and I was scared for many reasons, obviously. But it's not for you to be scared. If you have somebody, you see something in them that even caught your attention, give it a chance.
Yeah.
You know, it only takes a chance, because you don't always have to like something. No one's forcing you to like it, but giving something a chance or giving something an opportunity to prove itself to you that it can work might just be something amazing.
Yeah, I love that. And I like that analogy about, putting a different ingredient in the, your, whatever you're cooking. Yeah. Oh, wow. But I like that. I like that analogy. That definitely is that, because we are from different places, and, it's different spices and, the different flavors. And I love cooking. So I like to taste the different flavors in my food. You know what's the best part? Actually, the best part for me of cooking is actually cutting up the like the onions and the garlic and the green. I love the smell. So all of that coming together for me is the best part, because you know they said 90% of taste is smell. Right? So that to me, that's already get me riled up before I start to eat the food. So come on, guys. Come on. Yeah. You got it there. All right. So let's just say people need to keep an open mind. But if you don't have an open mind, then it won't work.
Yeah, if you want to be boring and just, unbox, you just...
Yeah, you just want to keep it. But, sometimes it makes people happier when they stay within their box. And some people are happier stepping outside of their box. And you have to be willing and, get to that point of your comfort level to step outside of your box.
Crazy enough, when you're in your box, you actually still learn some new stuff.
That's true.
Because in your box, say you decide to do, you only want to date Jamaican girls, Jamaican men. Even when dating, you learn so many things from your social media or your other friends or whatever. And you're thinking to yourself, I wonder if my partner would like that. I wonder if my partner would like to be a part of that. And then you have a whole thing with your partner where trying to explore new things to spice up the relationship. And it's you just being in your box, not trying to date outside the culture. But you're actually still opening yourself up to new possibilities.
True.
No, maybe you're that kind of person, but the kind of person I like rum, for example. Right? I like knowing
rum and soca.
Yeah. I like knowing I can mix different chasers with my rum, mix different things, other rums with other rums. I like mixing my rum and everything. I like knowing I can try new things, because nothing in life is just what it is. There's something more to it. And I like having more things to it.
Right.
I'm not a boring guy. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I can't live a boring life.
That's why you need to go on the plane. Right, guys?
Man,
go on the plane. I'm rooting for Slovakia.
Right?
But anyways, guys, thank you so much for coming. It was a really good topic. I think, as Jamaicans, our motto is out of many one people. And we do have a lot of persons from different countries and different cultures coming to Jamaica and feeding into us. And I think it's important for people to be more open, because if we're welcoming you, why would we welcome you into a relationship, right? So, on that note, yeah. So, guys, cross-cultural relationships can work. You just have to be open. You just have to step outside of your box and just think about cooking. If you like cooking, it's just adding a new ingredient into your meal. So just think about it from that angle. So remember to follow us on Instagram and TikTok on Itiswhatitisja, and remember to subscribe, like, share on YouTube at Itiswhatitisja. See you soon.